Non-duality and Santa Claus. So let's take a few moments to kind of look at how this story of Santa Claus can teach you how to see through your own illusions and achieve your complete liberation from your own illusions. So Santa Claus. It's really funny how we as a society are just so obsessed with teaching the Santa Claus story to kids. To try to be a parent and not teach your kids Santa Claus is seen by other people as the ultimate cruelty. Whereas really, everybody's just lying to their kids. I can remember when I was raising kids, I had a very, I really wasn't too sure about the Santa Claus story at all. So I didn't teach it very hard. I kind of just, lightly played the Santa Claus game. And yet, my kids just totally believed in Santa Claus. One of the stories they like to tell is the day they discovered that Santa Claus wasn't real. Of course, my oldest son, it's always the oldest kid that figures it out first and makes sure that all the other ones know, right? But it's this big story about sneaking down and, finding out that Santa Claus isn't real, watching the presents get put under the tree and stuff like that. And even though I taught it like so lightly and was not invested in it at all, they still ended up believing in Santa Claus. But here's what's cool about it. And maybe this kind of brings that whole Chinese saying of to hold the truth firmly before you, never before or against. So we don't really need to be against Santa Claus or for Santa Claus in order to learn the lessons that this can give us about how illusion is built in our minds very, very young, and how when we see through it, it just goes away completely. Because how many kids have ever realized Santa Claus isn't real and then gone back and started believing in Santa Claus? That doesn't happen. You see that Santa Claus isn't real, and then the illusion is just gone. That is the same with finding yourself. So this is a huge, huge clue for non-duality. If you find yourself going in and out of spiritual experiences, that means you're nowhere close to it. It's kind of like being a kid. Just think about how many movies there are about Santa Claus. I don't even know how many now, hundreds. And so a kid can watch different stories of Santa Claus and get different specific pictures about how Santa Claus works. Like, does he have a sleigh that actual reindeer pull, or is it kind of jet propelled? I've seen Santa Clauses where it's jet propelled. I've seen Santa Clauses movies where Santa Claus kind of goes into this time warp thing so that he can get around the whole world and bring all the kids their presents. And the chimney, right? Santa Claus supposed to come down the chimney. Hardly anybody has chimneys, so we have to invent all these different stories of how Santa Claus comes down the chimney. So this is all examples of still being in the illusion and just making better and worser stories about how the illusion works. And then there's some of these stories about the illusion that make it feel really, really good. Like imagine you got a really, really good present one year when you were a kid. Well, that proves that you were a good kid, right? And you had this fabulous, best Christmas ever. Imagine that, this happens so often you didn't get anything or you got something really terrible. I mean, that's often a huge crisis, like a lifelong crisis for people, that they had a bad Christmas. So that's just like going in and out of what we call a spiritual experience. You're still inside the illusion. Sometimes the illusion feels really good. Sometimes the illusion feels horrible. It's still the illusion. You're still believing in Santa Claus, and you're letting this belief in Santa Claus dictate so many things about your life. The second you step out of it, then that's just gone. So this is a really good little way for us to look at things. And stepping out of your illusions is just the same thing. Like, look inside, close your eyes and look inside and try to find Santa Claus bringing you a present. You could have thoughts about it. You could even picture it, like picture an image, but you will not find an actual Santa Claus in your brain bringing you a present. There's nothing there. When you see this nothing, all of a sudden the only thing that's obvious is who is looking. And that's you realizing there isn't a Santa Claus.